Hello, both sides of the conversation family. We welcome you to this virtual space crafted especially for you. My name is Jada Curry, and I'm both sides of the conversation's marketing director and graphics design specialist. I want to take some time to ground us all as a community into this space we are about to open up in, so let's go through our community standards. Both sides of the conversation is providing a safe and honest space for open conversation, so we ask that you all be respectful of that. We also ask that you be respectful of each panelist, host, and participant. We do encourage healthy debates and conversations. Don't personalize anything with anyone. This includes name-calling, bullying, trolling, or shaming. This will not be allowed or tolerated. Your perspective is yours. It is not a prescription. You do not have to agree, but show respect. These community standards apply to all of our live shows and any virtual spaces that we hold on social media, including YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We want to make sure that we are caring for each other as a community. This is our priority in all of our endeavors as both sides of the conversation. With that being said, I hope you enjoyed today's show and continue to stay in touch with us via YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or all of them. All right, thank you for listening and see you soon.
Welcome, everybody, to both sides of the conversation. I'm John Henry, Executive Director. Today is Tuesday, so you all know what that means. This is another Hidden Gem segment where we will continue to highlight our Black and brown businesses and as well acknowledge community leaders and people that's in our community that's doing positive things to positively impact us. And that's what this segment's all about. So with that being said, before we get started for tonight's Hidden Gems, I just want to go through a couple of our announcements before we get started today. Starting with our road announcement. Travel to Canada. Canada has willing to open up people to come to Canada that's fully vaccinated on August the 9th. They have vaccinated for people that's been vaccinated for at least 14 days. So that's great news for people that's been trying to get in and out of Canada, trying to get up there to see their loved ones and family. They will open up the borders and start letting Americans in. So I know a lot of people are excited about that. So shout out to Canada, getting it going and letting people get out and go see their loved ones. For our community at night announcements, treatment for the foster youth and teens charged with crimes in California. They has banned the practice of sending foster youth and teen charged with crimes to faraway residential treatment programs following a Chronicle investigation into reports of violence and abuse. So some of the out-of-state group homes and foster care services that was previously provided, they will not longer be sending our young people out of the state. They'll be keeping them in state. Governor Newsom has just committed $100 million over 5 years to create new program housing for vulnerable teenagers and young people that have been impacted by crime, not sending them outside of the state, but inside of the state. So we'll see what that's all about. Here in San Francisco, they have put out a new policing plan for tourists in the San Francisco area. Monday, the elected officials announced that the mayor and police chief, they're going to increase the foot patrol of officers in some of our tourist areas. I also hope they do it in our communities as well. You know, we have seniors and young people that feeling with the intake of gun violence and robberies and things that's happening in our community, that they need police patrols as well, and not just in our tourist areas. So hopefully Chief Scott doing what he's doing, they'll be able to get some foot patrols in some of these other areas as well. Also, want to say shout out to the UC system. Since this year, under the new leadership of the president of UC system, they seem to be getting it right. The UC system is shifting the way they go about business. This year, UC has broke a new record starting this year for enrollees or college students to all of the entire UC system. That means UC Berkeley, UC San Francisco, UC Davis, all the UC campuses. They have a record-breaking admissions this year. New records for Latinx students, making up 37% of the freshman class, and African-American students increased by 15%. We need to do a little bit better job for our African-American students, but what a job for the UC system, breaking the gap open it up so that our young people could get into that educational realm and do the phenomenal things that they need to do to impact our community. So I want to give kudos to the UC system. There's been a lot of complaints and frustration from families, how difficult. I know this year they dropped the SAT requirements and different things of that nature that's been impacting our young African-American students to get into the UC colleges. So under the new leadership of the President Michael, he is doing some work. And shout out to UC, getting our young people into the college system with more and more advancement. And they're changing things day by day. They are impacting the way we look at education. So, way to go, UC, for being innovative, opening up to diversity and making these changes. With that being said, this Thursday, we will have another Educational Thursday presentation where we will continue to impact the community and intentionally educate community with information. We have two powerful sisters that's going to come on and talk about social media marketing and for our businesses, how to use marketing as a tool and some of these strategies that they're using to help impact our Black and brown businesses. As we know, our Black and brown businesses have been impacted during this pandemic. But even through this pandemic, we have seen last week, as we announced, there has been an uptick of 25% more Black and brown businesses that's been open since the pandemic. So these sisters are going to come on here and educate our community about marketing tips and strategies. And hopefully some of our businesses will be able to connect with them and utilize their services to help get their information out to community. And then this Sunday, we'll have another community conversation. We're going to be talking about back to school with our educators. We're going to have some of our educators come on. We still have a few slots for panelists to come on and join. We're going to talk to our educators and find out what are some of the things that they're looking for community to look for and families to look for coming back, bringing our kids back into the classroom. I know here across the state of California, in the Bay Area, and across many parts of the country, they are requiring people to start wearing their mask again because of the uprising cases of COVID with the new strand. With the Delta strand. So please join us this Sunday. It should be a powerful conversation with our educators. And we apologize to the community because this week was supposed to be for our parents, but there was a shift and I mispronounced the information out to community. So August 8th, we will have the community parents come on and talk about how they're feeling about their kids going back to school and different things of that on August the 8th. But this week, we'll be dealing with our educators and letting them tell them what to expect, how we get our kids prepared and ready to go back to school. Phenomenal stuff. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into tonight's Hidden Gem segment. We're going to bring up my brother here in 1 second. But before we get started, I want to give a big shout out to the SF Rebels. I know they out traveling. Community, say your prayers for our brother Nate. He just reached out to me. He's not going to be able to join tonight. He went through some hydration. It's hot out there. And to our young people that's playing basketball, enjoying themselves in the community, please stay hydrated. We know we've been having some nice weather here in the Bay Area. And please check on our elders as well. Make sure that they are staying hydrated for community as well. So continue to pray for our brother Nate. As y'all know, he grinds hard for our young people. And let's just make sure that we send him his prayers and get back healthy and safe back home after they finish the tournament. So just happy to hear that he's all right, but he won't be here tonight. But we'll be looking forward to having Nate back join us on our Tuesday Hidden Gem segment. With that being said, we're going to bring up my brother Gilbert Johnson. He's been here before. His brother's doing some phenomenal stuff with the organization Time Done and a few other organizations that he's a part of. Welcome to have him back. We are happy to have you here. We know it's your daughter's birthday tonight, so happy birthday to the young lady. Thank you for giving us some time. You was just out here the other day, so it was nice to just hang out, chop it up with you, and meet you in person. But with that being said, Gilbert, go ahead and introduce yourself to the people. Let them know what you're doing. Y'all have been, breaking through some barriers and doing some impactful work. So let the community know what you do and how to connect with you, good brother.
Facts. Hey, and thank you for having me. I always open up from a place of gratitude and humility in this work. It's definitely helped in my transition process, out of gangbanging, out of drug abuse, out of homelessness, and so on and so forth. So I'm very humble and thankful to be here with you, brother. Glad to be here to speak a little bit about the great work. I mean, the phenomenal, life-changing, game-changing work that we are leading with Californians for Safety and Justice, and specifically Time Done. So I'm the California statewide Time Done manager based here in South Central Los Angeles, born and raised. And, we currently have legislation that we're working on that's going to remove thousands of barriers for people living with old convictions, old felonies and old misdemeanors. And so when I think about like, you know, my story and how I entered the criminal injustice system at the age of 16 and cycled out in and out until the age of 26. And when I was connected to a community-based organization that didn't hold my long criminal background record against me, that saw me as redeemable, that saw me as a human, that provided an opportunity for me to grow and excel and be an asset to the communities that I once terrorized and victimized. That's what changed my life. It wasn't probation. It wasn't parole. It wasn't the system. It was somebody giving me an opportunity and somebody saying, like, this brother is really trying to do the right thing. And what we're seeing right now across the nation, but, you know, right now here in California, there's about 8 million people living with old felonies and convictions. And anybody that has a criminal record knows that what comes along with that interaction with the system is, you know, you get denied access to jobs, you get denied access to career pathways and development, access to housing. I've been homeless because of old felonies. You know, kids get put into the system because the parents get separated or taken away and locked up and given these burdensome criminal records. And when folks get out, it's like, how do you expect me to excel and grow in life when there are literally 4,800 barriers in the state of California that folks are faced with upon release, post carceral release. And so Time Done is really an anti-poverty campaign that's rooted in the people. You know, it's led by folks like myself, Brother Terrence Stewart, who was here, our national Vice President Jay Jordan, folks that have all been locked up, folks that got denied working at the 99-cent store. You know, I got denied working at Walmart and Target. Jay got denied getting a barber's license. Terrence Stewart has a master's degree from UC Riverside and can't even be a teacher because of these what we call collateral consequences that come along with having a felony or a misdemeanor on your record. And so we're leading the work. This campaign is led by folks that have been directly impacted and have personal experience with the unjust system of mass incarceration and that have committed themselves to dismantling and chipping away and tearing down that system. And so, I mean, that's kind of Time Done in a nutshell. You know, my organization, Californians for Safety and Justice, we wrote and led the movement to pass Proposition 47, which reclassified 6 nonviolent low-level felonies to misdemeanors. What we saw historically and what we see still to this day is when someone is standing in front of a judge and facing a charge, facing a stint or whatnot, the darker the hue of your skin, the more likely you are to get the harshest charge, right? And so what we saw with Prop 47 is that crimes called wobblers, where the judge could either give you a felony or a misdemeanor for this crime, Black people and brown people and people of color, but Black people disproportionately always receive the harshest sentence. And so Prop 47 changed that dynamic by just taking those 6 non-serious felonies and making them misdemeanors. And it brought home hundreds of thousands of people across the state, lifers, people that had got caught up under 3 strikes, you know, stealing a piece of pizza, getting life in prison. Like, that's real here in the state of California. People got to know that the prison boom and the mass incarceration boom started in California, you know, and over the years, we spent hundreds of trillions of dollars beefing up public safety infrastructure and not really investing dollars into communities like mine, like South Central, where we have the poorest education rates. We have parks that look like vacant lots. We have hella vacant lots that were burnt down during the 92 unrest because of the long history of racist police violence that we've had to deal with. You know, me growing up, my granny telling me every day when I leave the house, be careful, you know, they out to get you, Black men. And she was talking about the police. She wasn't talking about no gang members or anybody else but the police. And so it's like just a deep, deep history of oppression and racial violence that we've seen at the hands of the criminal and justice system, the system of mass incarceration, the prison industrial complex. And at time done, we are doing the work again to tear it down. You know, we are making a bold statement and saying that our time is done. There's I mentioned 8,000 people here in the state of California, but time done recently went nationally. And so across the nation, there's close to 70 million people living with old felonies and misdemeanors. And, you know, a lot of them are crimes of poverty, you know, stealing food to feed your families, mothers stealing diapers to, you know, put diapers on our baby. And people are getting long lengths of time and then coming home and having a record, which again kind of places you into a permanent underclass and actually perpetuates generational poverty. You know what I'm saying? And so my mama was in prison, you know, so kind of inherently I ended up getting locked up. You know, my daddy left before I was born, and we just seen a cycle that continues to promote harm, that continues to victimize our communities, that promotes trauma. And anybody that's done like studies on trauma is generational. So trauma actually gets passed down through genetics. So in our communities, you see brothers out there that, you know, are hopeless and in despair. They could be dealing with trauma that goes way back to the plantation, you know, enslaved African folks. But we've never had the level of investment from government into trauma-informed services, into youth development and gang prevention and gang intervention, you know, into work like we're doing, which is aimed solely at removing barriers for people that want to succeed and want to grow and excel in life, like myself, you know. And so I'm a father. I got 5 kids. Had it not been for Community Coalition here in South Central LA, the lead social justice organization, you know, I'd probably be back in prison or dead. I'd probably be back locked up, you know, just another statistic. And so we're really promoting redemption. We're promoting second, third, sometimes fourth and fifth chances. We're letting people know that they have a voice. So we're organizing, we're building power on the ground. That's how we passed Prop 47. That's how we passed Prop 57. That's how we defeated the so-called moderate Democrats last year with Proposition 20. That's how we passed Prop 17, which gave folks on parole the right to vote. It all came through us, through everyday people stepping up and saying that we tired of the status quo, you know, defund the police, invest more in life. And I've seen that work. I've seen it work firsthand. So I don't know. My baby girl is in there, you know, waiting on daddy to come back. But if it's any questions or anything you want me to kind of expand on or expound on or double down on.
Listen, brother, you already covered. We got 2 other powerful brothers that's in the same line of work. It's your baby birthday. We appreciate you coming on both sides of the conversation, blessing the people. We appreciate the work that you're doing to impact not only people here in California, but across this country. As we know, systemically, the system has been curved against Black and brown people when it comes to mass incarceration. Thank you for all of the work you're doing, Gilbert. I'm looking forward to having you and Terrence back on. We're going to have a Sunday conversation about this as we get closer into the local elections and some of the things that we need to look at as a community. But you're right, there's been a lot of people been impacted. Community, second chance. When you don't believe in second chance, look at these phenomenal testimonies tonight. We got some powerful brothers. This is what second chances look like. We're not saying everybody get it. And you heard Gilbert say sometimes it takes 2 or 3 times to get it right. We never know when the light switch is going to kick on for individuals in the community. But if we provide the resources, if we do a thing, as they say, the village approach, sharing the resources, getting information out to the community, we can impact more and more people in our community. I was on one of you guys' calls, and I think the GDP, the impact of brothers not being able, sisters not being able to get jobs here in California is impacting our budget here in California with about $83 billion?
$20 billion.
$20 billion.
$20 billion every year by locking our people out of employment opportunities and career workforce development. $20 billion. You know what we could be doing with $20 billion additional dollars here in the state?
Yeah, like, man.
Really? So
we can really be impacting the community. So again, legislatively, community. Think about this, the violence that we're dealing with, the bipping, the robberies. If we was able to employ these brothers and get them this opportunity, you heard him talk about Terrence, man, phenomenal, powerful story. Brother goes to school, get his master's degree. Because of a criminal record, he can't even become a teacher. We got to change that. We got to give people opportunities. Sometimes we're young and dumb. We don't make the right decisions, but we also have to be open when people change, grow, and mature, that they will come back and do positive things to impact our community, especially our young people. Why not have a brother like Terrence who could deal with some of these young people who are dealing with their teenage wild side, and he could give them that life experience of going to jail? That's real impact, community. So kudos to you, brother. Thank you for giving up the time. Tell the family, thank you for giving us a few minutes to come on and bless the community. Keep doing the work. All power to the people. You know how we roll. We're going to continue to support you. Any information you need to get out, shoot it to us. We'll blast on all our social media handles and get it out to community.
Big facts. All right, big
don't celebrate the young one, man. See, that's what it's about. Black dads being there for their young people, man. Don't tell me that our black dads ain't in power. Go ahead and do your thing, brother. I'll see you soon.
All right, y'all. Peace and love, no doubt.
All right. All right, there y'all have it, man. My guy, Gilbert, coming on, blessing the community, doing the work, y'all. Y'all talking about where the brothers at in the community. Another phenomenal brothers doing stuff to impact our community positively. And to community out there watching, I see some of the comments starting to come in. We did start a little early tonight because we wanted to be respectful. We got two powerful brothers coming in here from the Midwest. We're going to bring up my brother Aaron from Chicago and let him tell his testimony and what he's doing to positively impact the community. So be patient out there. These young brothers is coming on here doing some phenomenal stuff to impact us. So we did start a little early tonight because we want to be respectful to their time as they are coming in. This brother's coming all the way from Chicago. So with that being said, and for people out there that's always talking about both sides of the conversation, y'all just focus on the Bay Area. Y'all just focus on San Francisco. Here go two more brothers, man. This brother come all the way from Chicago, staying up late to come tell his testimony, his story, what he's doing, and how he's positively impacted the community. And we want to support this brother as well. Aaron, come up here and let the people know who you are, what you're doing, good brother. Uh-oh, you got to unmute yourself. You having the John Henry moment. Unmute yourself.
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. Showing love across the country, man, to the Midwest.
Man, off top, man. Go ahead and bless the people, man. Let them know what you're doing. Give them your background, your story, so they can really hear about what you got going on, brother.
No, definitely, man. Aaron Smith out of Chicago, South Side of Chicago, man. I have a podcast, a media company called Escaping the Odds. It came from while during my incarceration. I did a little bit over 9 years in federal prison. And during that time, I had ran across a lot of really smart dudes, and I really wanted to get their stories out from a business perspective, because a lot of times, you really don't hear about the men and women that's incarcerated. You just hear about the crimes they did, but these guys were brilliant. And so I said, I'm gonna start a podcast when I get home. I came home in 2019. Like I said, I did 9.5 years in federal prison on a drug charge, and I really just wanted to tell those stories of business success and change the narrative of what people thought. And so Escaping the Odds came about. I'm over 50 stories in so far. I just completed season 2 about a month ago. And just knocking these stories out, man, and just really showing the community and the world that you can come home and you can have success. I'm all about financial freedom. There's nothing wrong with working a job, but as we can see from the previous interview, is that workforce development, employers hiring people with backgrounds is kind of tough. So sometimes you got to go out there and kind of create your own job. And so that's exactly what I'm doing. And so I've been at it about 2.5 years now, and really busting moves here in Chicago and just nationally as a whole, and just really wanted to, again, change what people thought of someone who was incarcerated.
Man, phenomenal stuff, man. I got questions I got to ask
Absolutely.
you because, I know community is watching here in the Bay Area. There's a lot of people like you had Gilbert. There's a lot of brothers doing re-entry work. A lot of people fighting for criminal reform. A lot of people doing the work that you're doing. Man, thank you for having a podcast, right? One thing that I always appreciate is, and I've been trying to tell people, what's been missing in our community is Black media, right? And when you're talking about changing the narrative, that's what we're doing, trying to change the narrative. It don't matter how many people is doing it, right? It's about getting the information out, blessing the people, right? And I just want to ask you, man, going through the experience, going through prison is a life-changing experience. Doing any time, right? I always tell people, sometimes in our community, people always get to bragging about how long you did, right? Any day living in those circumstances is unfortunate to a human being, right? That is just not how we design. But the impact, man, coming back, right? You going through that process, being that hope, being that light switch for some of the brothers, man. What is that like? The feedback, what do you give when a brother like, man, I've been here, you could do it. What does that look like, brother?
Man, to be honest with you, man, oftentimes when you just kind of engulfed in what you do, you really not really looking for the accolades. But also on the other end of that spectrum, if you will, at times you may feel like your voice is not being heard, but then I get a letter in the mail, you know what I mean, from somebody that was incarcerated, say, hey, look, man, I heard your podcast on the tablet, and man, I'm hooked, man. It's changing the way I move inside of prison, man. When I get out, I'm gonna build my credit up. I want to create this business and blah blah blah. So, or somebody DM me and say something of the same nature. So it lets me know that what I'm doing is worthwhile. Because oftentimes, as an entrepreneur, you're starting some creative, you may not see the full effects of it till later on down the line. And you like, wow, is this stuff really impactful? But when you hear from the people, man, from the horse's mouth, as they say, you really know that you're doing your thing, man. It does feel good. But you can't even get caught up in that, though. Can't get caught up in that, because the same thing that people bless you. Also, they'll say what you're doing ain't really impactful, and then you just don't want to be caught up in that whole mix up of how people feel about what you're doing.
It's always many, many opinions out there. I believe like you, I believe it don't matter what everybody think. I get the text messages, I get the email. This past weekend, we was talking about human trafficking, the amount of single moms, the amount of community leaders reaching out saying, hey, John, that was a powerful conversation. I learned so much. So when you hear that, you just eliminate the noise and focus on the blessing, right? We can't save everybody. We can't reach everybody. But again, as long as we getting the information out there to impact the community through this information, it is definitely powerful, and just the presence, go ahead.
And I'm sorry, you said something, man. It kind of takes me back to remember when we were students or kids in class, where the teacher would be like, you know what, if I just reach one of y'all, I'm good. And I remember hearing, I'll be like, man, what's reaching one of us gonna do? You know what I mean? But now that I'm on the other end of that, I feel the same way as you just stated. Like, okay, if one person can change their mindset and switch up their hustle and do something differently and not end up incarcerated, then hey, my job is done.
Man, definitely. Your job is definitely done. And I always tell people, I do this work inside of the juvenile hall center. I've done it at the county jail level. And again, you never know who gonna get it. I always do this like statistic. We have healing circles, and I have the young men, we in the circle, and I point them out and say, hey, you go make it, you go to jail, you go be dead. We go around the circle, right? And sometimes the youngsters get offended. Oh man, when you talking about I ain't gonna die, I said, but that's how I want you to think. I want you to feel like that. But statistically, the statistics say 1 in 3 of y'all, somebody go die, somebody going to jail for life. And I think that's a very important thing. You never know what's going to happen, because again, we're not in the business to change people. And that's why I appreciate your approach, right? I always tell people, we're not here to change people. We're not here to change, tell people what to do, right? We're here to plant seeds, right? When you plant a seed, you water it with information. You don't know when it's going to grow, how big it's going to grow, when it's going to sprout, right? But we just drop the seeds, give them the information, put something different in their brain. You know, in Chicago as well as here, I know out there, people are into this drill music. Out here, we got the hyphy music, right? These young people sometimes in our community are so influenced and they don't even know. And I always say, I love hip hop. I love our culture, but when we listen to music, it's very hypnotizing, right? And our young people wake up every day. 90% of what's going on processing in their brain, they're hearing negativity, right? So it's my job to step in, and what you're doing to step in, drop that seed, give them that 10% of that positivity, because all day they waking up to murder, robbing, kill, steal, and then they listening to that drill music all day, right? So they already getting, 90% negativity when they wake up in the morning, right? People shooting, drive-bys, things happening, in our community, but that little bit of positivity can really make an impact. And I always believe in the light switch approach. You never know when that light's gonna kick on. Some kids, it take them the first time. Some kids, it takes 10 times, but you just got to keep giving them that love. Sometimes we get kids that reoffend and people, want to give up on them. John, you see, they not listening. They come back. It's just, you don't know when they gonna get it, right?
Yeah.
If 90% of the time they hear the other stuff that they think is great and exciting, you know what I mean? They go still lean there. We just got to keep showing them love, keep blessing them. And again, you keep equipping them with that information, enriching them, putting those tools in the toolbox sooner or later they'll go in there and use them. So
absolutely
powerful stuff. So on your work in the podcast, are there certain demographics that you work with? Is it young people? Because I'm a register for your podcast and community. His podcast information. Y'all know what this segment's about: uplifting and supporting our Black and brown businesses. So that means community that's watching, please go on there and support and subscribe to his brother podcast and follow him and uplift him. But what's your demographics? I mean, in the work you're doing, you know, how much is it just our very, very young people? Because I like out here in the Bay Area, you know, we have our young people doing crime. But sometimes that 24 to 30-year-old age range is really impacted the most because we forget about them. A lot of the nonprofits, a lot of the grants and the resources is typically for young people 12 to 24, right? Mm-hmm. But I'm starting to see like a lot of our 24 to 30, 23 to 30 are kind of the ones doing the crime, really being impacted because there's no services and no help for them. So what's your demographics look like and what you seeing out there in Chicago?
Well, when you're talking about that emerging adults population, you know, that 20, like you said, that 24 and up. The good thing about business, man, that especially nowadays in the Black community and brown community, like we're being exposed to starting businesses, right? Everybody got a side hustle. And so what we wanted to do at Escaping the Odds was basically give you those tools and resources to be able to do that. So the demographic is pretty much anybody, although the stories that you're going to hear are from men and women who were formerly incarcerated, who are now successful entrepreneurs. I'll just utilize those stories really to have an impact on everyday people, you know what I mean, that want to escape the odds of maybe you decided you dropped out of school, right? You're that 21-year-old, right? You say, okay, I want to go back to school. I want to do something else. I want to get in the carpet. I want to own my own contractor business or anything of that nature, right? You're able to come to our website and hear a powerful story and say, hey, man, this guy did, or this young lady did X amount of years in prison, and now they have this business. Or maybe you're older person, right? Maybe you're 45 years old, 50 years old. You want to maybe switch careers and do something different. You always had a passion for entrepreneurship, but you got caught up in life. You know, you had kids, you had bills to pay. And so what we want to do here again at Escaping the Odds is to pretty much give people that nudge or that push and say, hey, if these cats or these young ladies can come home from incarceration after doing all these years and start multi-million-dollar businesses, so can I. And so not only do we get those stories, but in the future, what I'm going to be doing is actually providing funding as well for those entrepreneurs. This not only just formerly incarcerated, but disadvantaged as well. And so to go back to your question, the demographic, man, we touching everybody, man. You know what I mean? Financial freedom for everyone. And so we want to not only just talk about it, but give you those resources. And on our page, man, we got housing resources, we got financial resources, man. Pretty much anything you need to kind of level up and be successful. And so that's what we all about at Escaping the Odds.
Man, powerful stuff, man. You just energized me, brother. That's the same thing we doing out here again. There's no time to compete. We just uplift each other wherever you are. We make sure our people get the resources. Now, I know earlier you talked about your T-shirt, man. Tell people out there about
absolutely, yes. Switch hustles. You know, switch hustles. I always like to say, I switched hustles, and ever since I've been doing well. You know what I'm saying? And so it's basically not only just a hustle, but a mindset. That's where it starts first. And so that's what we have to do. Again, not just for somebody who was selling dope, such as myself, or whatever your illicit activity was, but again, it could be someone that want to switch hustles from going, hey, I've been on this job for 25 years. I want to do something different. You know what I'm saying? I want to chase, get out to that financial freedom and, just kind of level on up. And so switch hustles, that's what that's about. And we got the T-shirts, hoodies on the website. Go check us out. Got the summer colors and got something for the ladies as well. So it helps us continue to kind of put on our podcast and all the other different things we're doing in the community.
And don't worry, brother. I am going to buy one and support you. I will be on the website. Ship me one out here because that's what we all about. Kings supporting kings, kings supporting queens. We got to do it, right? And your story is powerful, man. I mean, just what you talking about. I mean, this is what our young people need to hear. When you talk about changing the narrative, right? Yeah. They need to see it. I keep telling these people, the young people, they got to see it to believe it. If you can say, I went from selling drugs to now I switched my hustle.
There you go.
I'm selling T-shirts, podcasts, financial literacy. Come on, man. Our young people need to see this very powerful stuff that you're doing. What a way to impact the community. I mean, we always hear on the news about the shootings and the things that's going on in Chicago, but way to have you here to come represent your city and let them know, hey, there are brothers who made mistake and make change, and with your change is going to change some other people's lives, man. So thank you very much, brother, for coming.
You got it. Exposure is key.
Man, exactly, man. We got to use every avenue, man. But with that being said, if there's anything you want to say, I appreciate you hanging up here a little late. We know you got the time difference, but if you want to say anything else, plug anything that you're promoting, go ahead and do it before we let you go, good brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Just subscribe to the newsletter, escapingtheodds.com. We got a blog on there where we also feature people that wasn't on the podcast, really dope stories of business triumph and just overcoming your obstacles of incarceration or anything. We got the podcast again. We got over 50 stories, dope brothers and sisters that came home and really doing their thing. Again, like I mentioned earlier, we got the resources on that too. Subscribe to the YouTube, same name, Escaping the Odds. Pretty much type in Escaping the Odds and just we everywhere. You know what I'm saying? And so we definitely are trying to make an impact and change that narrative and make sure that the brothers and sisters coming home can have pushed their agendas as it relates to entrepreneurship and financial freedom. So let's get it.
Man, powerful stuff. Thank you, brother, for coming on, blessing the community. Anybody out there going through that transition, still in the streets, listen to this brother, man. He all on the podcast, doing his thing. There is another way. There is an option. If you got the street knowledge, if you got the street game, I always say you got to flip it. It's another way you could take that hustle mentality and bring it into entrepreneurship and do something positively. And thank you, brother, for being a king, standing up, doing what's right. Because a lot of times our sisters, they email us, John, we're the brothers of the community. What are the brothers doing? And it's just good to see you doing it because through those podcasts and like what we do here, man, it's healing, man. That healing process, you give hope to so many people you don't even know. So keep doing what you're doing, brother. We will be supporting you. I will download the podcast and start listening to those episodes. And definitely I'll be getting me some of that switch that hustle game, man. You know.
And there you go, man. I appreciate you, man. You're escaping the odds over there too, man. You're doing a lot of great work, man, in the city, man. And just keep on doing what you're doing. Thank everybody for tuning in as well.
Hey, I'll be definitely connecting with you, man. So when I come to the Shy, the Windy City, I'll be out there. I love the Navy Pier. Every time I go down there, I go hang out down there as well. And jokes and notes, I was down there in South.
Okay.
I've been down there, but I gotta get back, man. So when I come, I'm gonna come connect with you, good brother.
Okay, I got you, bro. Come on, slide through.
All right, for sure, man. Thank you, Salute King, for doing what you're doing, and we'll be out here supporting you, brother.
Okay, thanks a lot. Peace.
All right, another powerful king doing things to bless the community. No matter where you at, man, we doing the work. There's brothers out here, good brothers, making it happen. If you don't believe in a second chance, listen to that brother Aaron right there, man. Check out his podcast and look at what second chances really could do to impact our community. With that being said, we got another good brother coming up here. Powerful story, testimony. I don't know how this all worked out, but all the brothers doing the work, been through it, got a powerful story, man. We're going to bring up my brother Kardell Sims. He's out there in Missouri, man. So don't tell us both sides of the conversation just here in San Francisco in the Bay Area. We reaching brothers all over. They tapping in with us, and good to have this brother here. Good brother Kardell, man. Go ahead and bless the people. Let them know who you are, what you're doing, good brother.
Oh, yes, right. We touching everywhere, man. My name is Kardell Sims. Like you said, I'm from Missouri. I'm a reentry coach, author, speaker, business owner, and ambassador for several companies. My story, man, I was running in and out of prisons for the past 20 years. I've been in and out of prison, state prison, federal prison. One point in time, I was in federal prison while on state probation and parole. So I've been through the system, juvenile, foster homes, went to college, played basketball. My mentality was always I was a product of my environment. I came from the environment of gangs, drugs. My mother was on crack. My father wasn't nowhere around. And I just learned how to hustle at an early age. And I found myself at the end of all that going in and out of prison as an adult. And to when I sat in federal prison, they handed me this paper that had my name versus the United States of America. And I just told myself, I got to start with self and make this change. And that's what I did. And when I was released from federal prison, I got out, was in the halfway house. While in the halfway house, I utilized that time to go to life coaching school, end up getting a life coaching diploma, becoming a master certified empowerment life coach, and starting my own business, Visionary Hustler LLC, in which I help people manifest their vision of being boss of their mission. But I really want to work in another field and really do what I was an expert at. And I was an expert in prison because I was doing so much prison time and getting out and going back and getting out and catching new cases. And I was an expert in prison and probation and parole. And I knew what it was taking for me to get sent back. And I knew what it took for me to never go back to prison again. So I started focusing in on the reentry field and started doing reentry coaching, started a nonprofit organization where we rebuild the neighborhood that we destroyed when we was in the streets, gang banging and selling drugs. And then I just started going in the county jails and prisons. I started a post-COVID reentry service here lately, part of our nonprofit organization, where we go into county jails, we go into prisons, and we work on personal development. Because what we're seeing up in Missouri and a lot of other places is that when COVID hit, a lot of people was getting pushed out, getting let out of prison, which is a good thing, but mentally they wasn't ready for the resources, or they wasn't ready for things they wasn't ready. A lot of times people say they're ready to get out of prison, and everybody's ready to get out of prison, but they're not prepared ready. So what we did was we went in and we just start helping those that's coming home and incarcerated individuals and formerly incarcerated individuals through reentry programs or county jails or prison. We just went in there and started doing personal development, teaching them a lot of accountability, responsibility, morality, self-awareness, expectations, challenging your beliefs, prioritizing what you value. And what happened was people started making a mental shift by starting within. And that's what I do today. I'm an author. I got several books. I'm an author of 6 books. When I first started writing books, it was in prison. I was writing hood novels. But when I made that mental shift, and when I got out, I started writing self-help books. I wrote a book called Inmate to Inspiration. It's basically my life stories, but it's not just my story. It's the lessons that I learned and the things I had to do to make that shift from really being a criminal to a civilian. And so I got out. That's what I did. And this is what I do on a daily basis all day. I got a podcast called The Reentry Journey, where we highlight those that's getting out of prison and facing their journey. So what this podcast does is, if you're getting out and you happen to see the podcast, or if you've been out and you see the podcast, somebody that's been on the podcast may have went through something that you're facing right now, and they tell you and teach you how they overcame it. So that's what the reentry journey is all about, highlighting the journey of reentry, highlighting the obstacles and the solutions and what it takes to make a successful transition back into society and become a successful member of the community. But to me, it's bigger than that. The biggest success part is never returning to prison again. That's why we shape and focus on mindset, because we want to have you have the mindset and transition into a life to where you never have to worry about going to prison again. And that's what I do, and I love it.
Man, phenomenal stuff, brother. I am so proud of you. This work, this is why I tell people, when you do this work and you give back in that type of way, it give you a certain kind of energy, give you a certain kind of humility, certain part of, compassion, man. And a lot of people don't understand. See, because you out there in Missouri, same thing in California, it's happening all over, right? And I be telling people, your story is no different than my story. My story is no different than the next brother. All of our communities are being impacted by this mass incarceration, by the systemic racism that's impacting our community, this equity, this wealth gap, all this stuff, right? That's happening. And it's very powerful to have brothers like you, come back and do the work. I always tell my little youngsters when I'm working with them, man, be aware of who your big homie is, right? Because we telling people you got to take the chains off your brain, right?
Yeah, you got to.
The chains off the brain, man. And the work you're doing is very powerful. See, when you start dealing with self, dealing with that anger, fear, and pain, that accountability, right? Not just saying, oh, the system trying to play me, the police trying to play me, mama trying to play me, the probation trying to play me, right? That self-accountability is definitely that first start, and you having that podcast is so beautiful, right? Because I keep telling people what we're missing in the Black community is information. We live in an information age, but we're not getting the centralized communication. So what you're doing is powerful. We need to continue to keep pushing that information out to the community, because definitely you have a story that's going to impact somebody. And I always tell the OGs, like, if you come back and tell your story, the truth, right? Because a lot of times, in our community, just how we are as a culture, right? Nobody tells nobody how to do the steps, right? All we do is show up in the nice cars. All we do is show up and tell them this is where I'm at, right? Nobody is willing to tell that story, right? And that's why I'm so proud of you, Aaron, coming on here, because it shows that vulnerability. And as Black men in our community, we have to start showing each other that we can be vulnerable. We can have these difficult conversations and open up, because once we do it, they see it, then they feel like they can do it. But if we're closed off, we're not willing to have a conversation, we can't move a culture of young people forward, because everybody just, fantasizing off Instagram. We got social media. It could be a bad thing. I always tell people social media could be a bad thing, but it also could be a powerful tool if you utilize it and apply it the way it needs to be applied for our communities, man.
Most definitely. It can be the most powerful, like getting out of prison and utilizing social, not even just getting out of prison, just utilizing social media period to its strengths, man. It can elevate you in so many ways, but you got to learn to utilize the tools that's giving you for its purpose and not for play.
Man, definitely power stuff. I talk about it all the time. I'm on different social media handles. I'm in these digital streets, as they say. I'll be in these digital streets. I be in Clubhouse. I be everywhere, right? And I be telling people, like, if we just utilize these platforms for what they made to help educate, intentionally educate our people, on different topics, man. And that's why we try to have so many different topics. And I appreciate what you and Aaron is doing, having these difficult conversations. We know in our community, a lot of these conversations we don't want to have. We don't want to talk about financial literacy. We don't want to talk about mental health. We don't want to talk about relationships and some of the things that really impact our family dynamic in our community, right? And if we have our sisters out there properly utilizing social media to influence the next young generation of young people, man, what a way to change the community. And I like something that you put in your bio, and this is something that I always believe in, because definitely COVID gave a blessing to a lot of inmates here in California. We work with a lot of the people in San Quentin prison. A lot of them did get out early, and a lot of them got rearrested. We had a couple national stories where brothers got out, wasn't ready, recommitted, reoffended. And something that you put in your bio that I think is deep, and I always say this when I'm working with my young people that's incarcerated, is having a blueprint, right? You can't build nothing without foundation. You get what I'm saying? You build a house, you got to have a blueprint to know what it's going to look like. Then you got to lay that foundation before you put the walls up, the roof, and everything else that goes inside of it. And that's, I think, the most important, impactful work that you, Aaron, and the rest of us could do, is helping our young people envision what that blueprint looks like and how to set that foundation. I think you hit on all of it, because that foundation looks like accountability, being vulnerable, being open, dealing with the anger, feeling pain, right? Dealing with the mental health, dealing with that childhood trauma, because a lot of this stuff we don't admit. And I love how you broke down the poverty and the things you've been through gangs and all this, right? Because this is what's happening across this country. And we just don't have enough people being open and honest about how it's impacted them, the poverty and the things that we deal with in our community. But just having you on as a coach to empower our young people, empower the community, brother. I'm proud and honored to have y'all here. This is the work, man. This is what it looks like. And this is what second chances look like, and opportunities. And I like how you said, it took you a while to get it, and that's why
it took you. Yeah, you got to realize sometimes they're not going to take you. Like I always tell people, it took me about 5 times. I mean, just to be honest, it took me 5 times. I called one dope case. I got out on probation. Yeah, I'm cool. Went right back to it. Called another dope case, gun case. Went to the prison for about 6-7 years. Got out. Got right back to it. Got violated. Called another. You know what I'm saying? It was just like I was getting out and I wasn't ready, and I was just jumping right back into it. And I represent a lot of people that do that. A lot of guys, like you have some that go in 20 years, 15 years. They come out, they get it right, they sit down. Then you got some like me that do 5 years here, 7 years. You running in and out. And it's a lot of people that run in and out, in and out. So I knew why I was going back, because I didn't have no plan. I didn't have that blueprint. When I'm sitting in federal prison, I took all my pictures off my picture board and started building a vision board of what I wanted my life to be like. This is what I'm going to do. And so every morning when I woke up, this is what I looked at, and this is what my day consists of. Knowledge, whatever it took for me to gain to make this happen. When I walked out with no money in that blueprint, and that blueprint got me to where I'm at today.
Man, powerful stuff. Young people, community. We don't have to go to prison. I always tell my young people, we already did the research. You got this brother on here. He did the time for you. You know, I always tell them when we pass it down generational knowledge and information, right? Martin Luther King them did their part, right? They already did the steps. You ain't got to do it. This brother here that did the research for you. He know it don't work. Follow the new path. And that's always what I try to give back to my young people, man, is I did the research for you. It's a no-win-win. You know, I break it down to them simple like this. This is what I tell them, Kardell. I say, I always tell my young people this, if you knew the rules of a game, right? And I always break it down to dice because all our young people like to shoot dice, right? So I break it down to the dice game I got to break them down. We meet them where they at, right? So I say, if you was in the dice game and you knew that these dice only roll 7 and 11, right? And the person you was playing with, to gamble with, said, I'm going to shoot first. And you know it's only going to roll 7-11, so he's never going to give you the dice back, right? Would you shoot dice with him, right?
Exactly.
They always say, no, heck no, I would never do that, right? I said, well, think about your life. When you're out there in these streets, man, you playing a game that you ain't going to win. The system has laid this out. You're going to get caught up.
I ain't met nobody won yet.
Come on, man. Hey, I always tell people the streets got more victories than the people in the streets.
Man, I ain't met nobody that won yet.
Come on, man. Real talk. Hey, good brother. I know it's late. I know you're in the Midwest. Thank you for the work that you're doing. I will be subscribing to your YouTube. I will get your information out to community. Community, tune in. This is what that narrative should look like. Brothers who've been there, did the work, been there, been through the struggles, right? And coming back and making the best out of an opportunity. What a way to have you get at game and information to the young people and the people of the community. Change do happen. That's all I can tell people. Change do happen. We can't sit here and hold people down for 100 years about one mistake or a few mistakes, right? We got to give people opportunities. Sometimes in our community, we don't get that opportunity, but thank God you got it, brother. And thank God you giving the sauce and the information back to our community. We love you for that, man. Keep doing what you're doing, King, and we going to support you.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
All right, good brother. We'll see you, and we'll stay connected. Thanks for giving up your time. If you got any events or anything that you're doing, we are connected out there in the Midwest. Please submit those documents to us so we can get them out on our social media handles. We love to help promote what our people are doing. So if somebody's in your area, they can connect and know about your show and all that stuff. We'll definitely get that out there for you.
All right, I appreciate it.
God bless, man. Keep doing the work, brother. Stay up, King.
Peace, King.
All right, man. Phenomenal stuff. Our last hidden gem tonight. She's been waiting so patiently. I had to get those kings on and off, sister, because they are in a different time zone. But our last hidden gem for tonight, she ain't so hidden. She be out there. She support both sides of the conversation. She support the community. She support our elders. I mean, she's out here doing phenomenal work in the Central Valley, impacting people, impacting our community. Miss Kim, please come up here and tell the community what you're doing, how you're impacting the people, and how people could connect with you with the things that you're doing. Unmute yourself. There you go.
Am I good? Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. John, it's always a pleasure to see you, my soldier, my king. I look and watch everything you're almost doing. I always give you accolades and props. I want the world to know about you because you're not a hit and miss out here. You a one-hit quitter. I'm on your side. I just salute you all the way. You a soldier in my book. I like everything you do. I know it was about me. I'm the People's Consumer Protection Service. I'm a law student. I co-chair with attorneys. I got the seniors on my mind. I just had, from my perspective, I just had to deal with, COVID and tenant and landlord eviction. And there was a situation with a senior just recently. And, the tenant didn't actually qualify for the protection, but, it was draining the senior. And I had told you about it, how the senior was on a fixed retirement income. And, they really needed, someone to show up, show out, and, let the civil procedures, do a better job in protecting our seniors. So they don't have a lot of money to afford an attorney. You don't have a lot of money to afford an attorney. You come to the peoples. You're trying to get your misdemeanors and felonies and all that reduced, and you want to petition the court, and you want to get that expunged out your record. Come see your sister, girl. That's what I do. You're homeless and you're looking for some resources, some houses and stuff to get settled in. Come see your sister, girl. You want to get connected to these Section 8 programs and they got barriers and you can't get over, come see me. That's what I do. So I'm excited to be out here just being a weapon for the people who can't fight for themselves. And I'm just elated to know today the court issued me a judgment, and I was able to get the writ out and got it down to the Alameda County, to the sheriff today. So we'll be getting that, that tenant. Well, he was actually a trespasser, but we'll actually be getting him out. And, these seniors, these two old people will actually have relief. Their health was failing. The tenants that was in there was actually smoking the marijuana, and, just was causing them all kinds of health issues. I reached out to you about it, and we was joining forces with some attorneys and talking to some attorneys about the best way to deal with COVID legally. Because there was just a lot of, moratoriums in place that would not allow you to go into the Alameda County system and even start evictions. You had to wait till June, then July, then August, and now I believe it's September. So on every end, these people were getting shut. It's just really nothing that no one can do. I'm on both sides of the conversation like you, John. When it comes down to it, if it's a landlord getting done wrong, come see me. If it's a tenant getting done wrong, go see me. I just believe in righteousness, and that in itself, speaks for the People Consumer Protection Service.
Man, phenomenal stuff, Queen. And I wanted to say, I appreciate the support, and you definitely been doing a lot to just help get our word out. And I've been here definitely supporting you. I mean, the work that you're doing is very powerful, and I know you're getting close to finish your law school. And I think you're going to be definitely a gem of our community to help our elders. A lot of times in our community, we forget about our elders. And I know sometimes on my show, I'm always, having these fights and altercations or conversations about our elders. And I always want people to know I love my elders. Yeah. There are definitely things in the community that I feel our elders hold on too long to power. They hold on too long to positions, and a lot of times they don't want to give the information to the younger generation. So I have my little gripes with some of our elders in the community. But when it comes down to the work, and it comes down to the respect and the humility and compassion for our seniors and our elders in the community, I always hold them with the utmost respect, because they have been there, they've done the work, and a lot of times they put years of service in so that younger generations, for me, can have a voice to speak and do the things that I do. So I never want to shed a negative light, like I don't appreciate our seniors and things of that nature. But this work that you do is very touching to me, because, again, a lot of people don't understand what COVID has done to impact not only our elders of the community, our disabled people of the community, and some of these families who financially struggle because sometimes the breadwinner of the family wasn't able to go out. And we know this housing thing. I know there's been a number of things in California they've done. I know the Hope House initiative that they just put out, Hope House something it was the other day I put out there, the governor signed to help people out. But realistically, Kim, I want to know, how bad is it? Because I know that there's, there is some funding that's going out. I don't know if it was $100 million or whatever it was to help people with housing and back rent. But how nervous as a community advocate our community should be when it comes to our elders. Like you said, they don't fix incomes. And we know this government support is only going to be for so long. But as a community, how worried should we be looking at the numbers, looking at some of the cases and the things that you're dealing with? How nervous should we be about what this housing situation? We already know we got a bad housing crisis, not only here in the Bay Area, California, across this country. But realistically, how bad are we looking coming out of this pandemic when we're looking at housing for our elders and for community?
Yeah, it's a bad situation. It's not something we should take lightly. Like you said, the information of what they really don't. I have two Belgian Malinois here. They police dogs. They're right here trying to get my attention. Honey, can you let them out, please? Come on, out. I have to say that it's really a bad situation when it comes down to the housing, when it comes down to us meaning Black people, really trying to recover from COVID. Anywhere from the jobs system is not really designed to actually allow Black people to emerge back into the working system. They are very selective, like the young brother Gilbert was saying, and like my other brother Kardell was saying, was that because of these different situations now that our background always means something to those who are in power. So I'm going to talk to you offline on how to put power back into our nation, but this is not the platform for that. But what I am going to try to do is just highlight how important it is to understand the rules, the perimeters that are set around the housing market and COVID. It works like this. Either you jump through enough hoops with your landlord to run you that money in order for you to stay in your place. If you miss a hoop too, such as your declaration form, you don't get your declaration form in and you don't pay 25% of some parts of that income, your landlord still has probable cause to actually move forward with an eviction. If that happens, contact me at 888-313-3443. That's 888-313-3443, so that I can intervene just before that 30 or 40 days of the moratorium being lifted, and I could put you in a better position, whether I have to connect you with attorney, whether I have to help administratively put your paperwork in to hold, give you enough time. And just to kind of speed this forward, that's just on the housing in relationship to them actually coming from ending the moratorium and you getting evicted or these paperworks run. Now let's talk about foreclosure. Foreclosure to someone such as myself that was once homeless and took my own census and bought my own house is very crucial for me to actually be able to maintain a home that I fought and struggled for. However, Small Business Administration has now faced several lawsuits because they're not giving Black business any of that money, that $4 million that you're talking about. Black business is only receiving 1%. So if we're only receiving 1% of any of the business money to get our business and our community up, then how are you going to pay your rent? How are you going to pay your mortgage? There's no money out there. They have designed it where there's no money out there for the Black community. This is and it's serious. And I think that a lot of people who are watching your show, who are, in desperate need, that's trying to just get over these barriers, and they really don't, have the money, they don't have the resources to actually get an attorney or go to what they call the legal help center. Then to ease that burdens, they definitely should call the People's Consumer Protection Service. Let me help you stay in your place. Let me help your mama stay in her place. Let me help your daddy, your brother, your sister, your uncle keep their place, keep their job, and also help those that are trying to get their evictions, not evictions, but the criminal convictions off their records. Call the People's Consumer Protection Service. Don't delay. Call me today.
That's right. Well, can you go ahead and also put that phone number in the chat so I can get it up there? I have your email up there. If you want to reach out to them, please go ahead and reach out to this sister. She is very powerful. She is definitely for the people, making sure that we get the services, the access that we need, and she has the information. And I'm glad you brought that up about the SBA, because they have done a poor job when it comes to supporting Black businesses with these loans and different things that's been coming out to the community. And I know we had some troubles in the community with people doing stuff that wasn't right about it. But again, how do we fix this? Because again, it's just like, it's always an issue when we have a natural disaster, from FEMA to different things. It always seems when we have these things, the Black community, brown community seems to be impacted. How do we fix that as a community? How do we rally and get legislative support to change some of these processes so that we definitely get the equity that's needed? Because definitely in this pandemic, our Black and brown businesses were hit the hardest. And, a lot of times when people were telling me that they were trying to go through the SBA and go through those processes, it was just unbearable and they couldn't do it. So what does that look like?
Right. So with the Small Business Administration, I am looking for those who have been denied small business or PP loans or grants or any loan you apply for the Small Business Administration. I am taking a lawsuit straight to them because that's exactly what I do. I'm skilled like that. So I plan to actually file a lawsuit against Small Business Administration and the discriminatory practice towards Black businesses. That's the first thing I'm doing, and we're going to have a team of people to help deal with this. However, just real quickly, because I know you have so many wonderful people who want to step in, I want to hear from you guys. I know you all are amazing, so I'm trying to speed this up so that I can continue to enjoy this wonderful podcast we got. Is this a podcast? No, that's not.
Yeah, you're the last person. So this is it.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, but nevertheless, what I would like to try to do is just make sure that people understand that we are doing something to deal with the loans that has not been that you've been denied. But there are other avenues of quick funds that we can get. There's still some housing programs you still can be attached to. There are still some referrals and some utility monies that's out there that's still paying some bills. And then once I tell them that, tell them that you with the People's Consumer Protection Service, that, that opens up a door in itself because they're being monitored, they're being investigated. So they're less likely to deny you of those services that you actually need and can use in this time period. So you're subject to actually get what you need. I hope that answered the question. I kind of went off there a little bit, but I hope
no, definitely that was phenomenal information. I see my guy Maurice out there, Maurice Rivers, another community advocate doing things, supporting us, Cynthia, different people, man, and I appreciate them because this information they'll be getting out to their network of people, and that's what this is all about. Sharing the resources, getting into our community. We never know who's really in need. We come from a prideful culture, so a lot of times our people are suffering and they don't want to. Yeah, they right. Yeah. So brothers like Maurice that's getting the word out. Cynthia, definitely will make sure that your information get out to help impact the community. Nice. Very, very powerful stuff. And I know now I could be having a blackout moment, but you are coming to do a PowerPoint presentation for the community on our Educational Thursday at some point, right?
Yes, I am. I'm gonna be better prepared and ready to go, so my information be on point, like you on point. I appreciate everything you do, John. I really do. I love you, man, and thanks for having me on your show. I appreciate it.
No problem. Well, thank you, community. As y'all see tonight, we had some phenomenal hidden gems, very powerful stuff. Sister here, man, this queen is working for the people, grinding. Like I said, I don't know how she sleep. I only get 2 hours of sleep, but I'll be posting. I'll be seeing her like this. I'll be like, man, y'all be up. I'll be trying to keep up with everybody else. But
I'm living in the scripture, awake thou to sleep, arise from the dead, and Christ should give you life. That's how I'm living. I'm letting the flesh sleep, but my soul is awake and well and saying, who can I help? Let me help you.
That's right. That's what it's all about. Well, community, thank you all for tuning in tonight. Before we end, just want to say this Thursday, we're going to have 2 powerful sisters come on and really educate our community. As y'all heard, we're talking about business here. We know during this pandemic, there's been an uptick. 27% in the Black and brown community. Businesses getting started. More entrepreneurs are starting their own business. We're going to have 2 phenomenal sisters come on and educate community about marketing and teaching them how to use the strategies of marketing to get their business information out to community, give you some tools, some information, and then also hopefully some of y'all be out there able to support these sisters on their marketing journey so that they could go ahead impact the community. We want to definitely support our Black and brown businesses. They're giving up their time and volunteering and coming to educate our community. We want to take our resources and help support their businesses grow. We believe that if we patronize our business and we support them, they'll be the companies that'll hire people that look like us and give them a fair chance and help brothers like Aaron, me, the people that was on here tonight, a second chance. Because sometimes, like Gilbert said, brothers that do the work, been through the system, don't get that second chance. So we want to definitely empower our Black and brown businesses so that they can hire people that look like us and understand some of the things that people went through when they made bad decisions or came home in this reentry process, restorative justice, making sure that they get an opportunity to take care of their families and do some of the things that they could do to give back to impact our community. So looking forward to that for this Thursday. And then Sunday, we're going to have a Sunday conversation with our educators. There are a few slots still open. We're looking for a couple more educators. It doesn't matter what school district you're in, where you at. we're trying to give the community information as we prepare our young people. The families are getting ready to send our kids back to these schools. You know, what's some of the concern? I know communities worried about how many of the schools got clean and different things of that nature. So we're going to hear from some of the principals, some of the educators to talk about the plans that they have in place so that families can feel and understand what's needed in preparing to get our kids back to school. I know there was a bill that was passed here in California to make sure that our kids are getting free lunch for all kids and different things of that nature. Transportation in San Francisco, our young people can move around the city on public transportation for free. So there are things that are happening, but we're going to hear from our educators and find out what's going on in the schools as everybody gets ready to start transitioning back to school, how they're going to set things up and kind of give community that information. And then on August 8th, we're going to have the parents come on. So there was a confusion, and I apologize. I put out the announcement that this weekend was for the parents, but there was a change in the schedule. So all of our parents will be coming on August 8th, the Sunday conversation on August 8th, and they're going to talk about their concerns with taking their kids back to school. Are they ready? How are they feeling? Are they nervous? Do they feel the educational capacities are going to be there? So we'll hear from our Black and brown parents on August the 8th, but this week we'll hear from our educators, and they'll tell us how they are prepared to get our kids and our families back into the school life. So looking forward to that. And then next Tuesday, we'll have another segment like tonight of some more powerful hidden gems. We'll continue to highlight our Black and brown businesses as well as community leaders that are doing things to positively impact our community. If that is you out there, if you're a business owner and you're looking to get your information out farther to community, we have a free platform for you. Just come on, just sign up. We'll get you on so that we can get your information out to community. Let our community know where your business is, what's your hours of service, what you serving or what you doing, so that we can make sure we connect you with community, our nonprofits, our leaders of the community to utilize your services to help build capacity and patronize your business, as well as our community leaders. If you know somebody out there that's doing something positive, like the hidden gem tonight that's impacting our community, doing things, our teacher, whatever. If you know somebody that is doing things that are really impacting or having a benefit to our community, you can also nominate somebody on our website. Please look us up, www.bothsidesoftheconversation.org or www.bsotc.org, and you could go ahead and put your nomination in, and we'll reach out to those individuals and make sure that they are on and the community know who they are, because we want to highlight them, give them the roses, and let them know that as community, we appreciate the things that they're doing to positively impact our community. As we know, there are so many things that negatively impact our community. It is nice to have a segment where we could just highlight, listen to brothers like Kardell and Aaron tonight, just inspire me and give hope. And for community out there, if you didn't feel the passion of those brothers and hearing their testimonies, if that didn't move you, I don't know if you can be moved. Now let me stop, because you could be moved, but definitely for somebody out there, that was something positive as we continue to change the narrative, shift the narrative, and tell the stories from our voices. We got to hear from us. So just proud of those brothers coming up way in Chicago, way in Missouri, staying up late, coming to bless the community, telling their story. That's what we need, more men of our community to be vulnerable, tell the truth, tell their testimony, so that our young people and community can hear what's going on and help them make some lifetime decisions, because sometimes it might not be me, but it might be you out there. Be the change. You be the reason that somebody's been impacted by your life, like this sister, Miss Arnold here. She's being a change, impacting our elders, impacting our community. It takes us all. It starts with a little bit. We all could do it. Love you all. See you this Thursday as we'll have our next live broadcast. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for supporting us. And we'll see you all on Thursday.